Have you ever wondered how the apostles, the closest followers of Jesus, truly met their end? Most of us hear about their lives but rarely stop to think about the sacrifices that sealed their legacies. What if I told you that their deaths were not just tragic, but shockingly transformative? The answers might challenge everything you thought you knew about faith, courage, and devotion. These weren't just stories of quiet passings, they were tales of unrelenting persecution, unimaginable trials, and a faith so unshakable that it withstood even the threat of death. Yet, each apostle's journey paints a picture far deeper than martyrdom. Their endings are filled with lessons that echo through time, offering us guidance in a world that often tests our own beliefs. Curious? You're not alone. So, what's the truth behind their deaths? Did they really face such brutal ends, and if so, why? Stick with me, because by the end of this journey, you'll not only know the shocking details but also uncover the powerful legacy these men left behind. Their stories aren't just history, they're blueprints for anyone daring to live a life of purpose. Let's unravel this mystery together. The apostles' journey began in the most unassuming of ways, ordinary men plucked from the fabric of everyday life. Fishermen, tax collectors, and zealots, none of them fit the mold of what society deemed qualified leaders. Yet, when Jesus extended his simple yet profound invitation, "Follow me," they left everything behind. Imagine the courage it took to walk away from steady income, family ties, and personal security. It's a reminder that greatness often starts with an audacious leap of faith, not a polished resume. Consider Peter, a fisherman whose hands knew the coarse ropes of the trade more than fine scrolls. Yet, this rough-around-the-edges man became the rock upon which the church was built. Why? Because he dared to believe in a purpose greater than himself. Think about your own life. What ordinary skills or overlooked talents might be the foundation for extraordinary impact if surrendered to a higher calling? The apostles' humble beginnings challenge us to see the potential in our own. Leaving everything wasn't just symbolic, it was an act of complete surrender. Matthew, the tax collector, didn't just quit his job, he left behind wealth and power. Such a decision defied logic and societal norms, but it was the price of living a life aligned with divine purpose. Can you imagine the whispers from neighbors, the ridicule from peers? Yet, this choice teaches us a crucial truth: sometimes, stepping into your destiny means stepping away from your comfort zone. Their diverse backgrounds remind us of the beauty in unity. Simon the Zealot, passionate and fiery, stood alongside Matthew, who had once collaborated with the Roman oppressors. Talk about unlikely companions. And yet, their differences didn't divide them, they were united by their shared mission. It's a powerful lesson for today's fractured world: our differences can become strengths when anchored by a common goal. What mission unites the people in your circle? Even as they followed Jesus, the apostles couldn't have imagined the global ripple effect their obedience would set in motion. From small fishing villages to bustling Roman cities, their stories began to spread, carried by their faith and relentless dedication. It's a testament to the fact that no matter how humble your beginnings, the seeds you plant today could bear fruit for generations. But their journey wasn't without challenges. This is where their real test of faith began. The apostles' mission wasn't a walk in the park, it was a battlefield of faith. From the moment they started proclaiming Jesus' teachings, they faced resistance from religious authorities, political powers, and even their own communities. Imagine the courage it took to preach in the face of hostility, knowing full well that danger lurked around every corner. Their story reminds us that true faith often demands bravery, not just belief. Are you ready to stand firm when life tests your convictions? Persecution was not just a possibility, it was a guarantee. The apostles were imprisoned, flogged, and publicly humiliated for their unwavering message. Picture Peter and John being dragged before the Sanhedrin, boldly declaring, "We must obey God rather than men." Their boldness is a wake-up call for anyone hesitant to speak up for what's right. When was the last time you took a stand, even when it wasn't convenient or popular? Their challenges weren't just external, they faced internal struggles too. Fear, doubt, and exhaustion were constant companions. Think of the Apostle Paul, often beaten and left for dead, yet still penning letters of encouragement to churches. How does someone muster such resilience? The answer lies in their unwavering focus on their purpose. If you've ever felt like giving up, their example is a nudge to realign with your why and press forward. And then there were the betrayals. Friends turned enemies, crowds turned mobs. It wasn't just the Romans who opposed them. Stephen, a follower, was stoned to death while Saul, later known as Paul, stood approvingly. Yet, even this betrayal became a cornerstone of transformation. Saul's eventual conversion shows us that even the fiercest opposition can become an ally when touched by grace. What obstacles in your life could hold hidden blessings? Their persecution culminated in martyrdom for most of them, a sobering reality that their faith wasn't just a belief, but a life they were willing to lay down. And yet, the legacy of their sacrifice continues to inspire millions. How many of us are willing to invest so fully in a cause, knowing the cost? The apostles' challenges were the crucible that refined their faith, setting the stage for individual stories of profound devotion and sacrifice. Each apostle left behind a unique legacy, a testament to the depth of their faith and the diversity of their callings. Take John, for example. Known as the beloved disciple, he lived long enough to pen Revelation while exiled on Patmos. Imagine the solitude of that island, the isolation, and yet, in that quiet despair, God revealed visions that would shape Christian eschatology. What about your moments of isolation? Could they be the fertile ground for profound revelations in your own life? Then there's James, the son of Zebedee, whose fiery zeal earned him a swift and brutal end as the first martyred apostle. Executed by the sword under King Herod, James reminds us that the path of faith isn't always safe or predictable. His courage stands as a beacon for anyone grappling with fear in the face of adversity. Think about it, when faced with a tough decision, do you shrink back, or do you embrace the call, even when it's costly? Peter, the leader of the apostles, stands out for his humility, despite his prominent role. Crucified upside down under Nero's rule, Peter's request not to be executed in the same manner as Christ reflected his deep reverence and self-awareness. His story is a powerful lesson in leadership. True leaders serve others, even at great personal cost. Reflect on your own influence. How do you lead? Is it with humility, or do you seek recognition? Andrew's story is equally profound, yet often overlooked. Known for bringing people to Jesus, he was eventually crucified on an X-shaped cross in Greece. His humility and quiet perseverance serve as a reminder that not all impact is loud or flashy. Sometimes, it's the unseen acts of faithfulness that leave the greatest mark. Think of the people you quietly influence. Are you intentional about pointing them toward what truly matters? And then there's Judas Iscariot, the tragic figure who betrayed Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. His story is a sobering reminder of how unchecked greed and misplaced priorities can lead to devastating consequences. But even his legacy carries a lesson. The weight of remorse shouldn't lead us to despair but to repentance. It's a stark warning to examine our own hearts. What silver coins are we tempted to trade for our integrity or faith? The apostles' spiritual teachings were more than just words. They were life-changing principles rooted in their lived experiences. Their letters and sermons weren't lofty theological debates but practical guides for real people facing real challenges. Paul's epistles, for example, are filled with wisdom on faith, perseverance, and community. Think about his advice in Philippians, "Rejoice in the Lord always." Simple words, yet how transformative they are when applied to life's darkest moments. John's writings, particularly his emphasis on love, remain some of the most profound teachings in Christian history. God is love, he declared, shifting the narrative from rules and rituals to relationship and grace. Imagine how different the world would be if this principle guided every interaction. In your own life, what would change if you prioritized love over judgment, compassion over criticism? The apostles' teachings challenge us to do just that. Peter's teachings, too, offer a wealth of wisdom, especially for anyone navigating hardship. In his first letter, he writes about standing firm in the face of suffering, reminding believers that trials refine faith like gold in fire. It's a powerful metaphor. Pain isn't pointless, it purifies. Have you considered what challenges in your life might be shaping you for a greater purpose? Peter's perspective invites us to see struggles through the lens of transformation. Even amidst their tragic ends, the apostles' dedication to teaching and spreading the gospel never wavered. Andrew's quiet evangelism, for instance, demonstrated that even small acts, bringing someone to Jesus, offering a word of hope, could spark monumental change. It's a reminder that teaching isn't confined to grand stages or written works, it's in everyday actions. How might you teach through your life, even without speaking a word? Their spiritual legacy isn't just preserved in their writings but in the lives they touched and the faith they inspired. Each lesson, whether about grace, perseverance, or love, continues to ripple across generations. But their teachings weren't just intellectual, they were actionable. This is the thread that binds their stories together, a commitment to living what they preached, even unto death. And in their final moments, their faith illuminated their path forward, leaving us a roadmap for our own journeys. And now, as you've uncovered the stories of the apostles' lives and deaths, the question remains, what will you do with this knowledge? Will their faith inspire you to look deeper into your own purpose? Remember, these weren't just extraordinary men, they were ordinary people who chose an extraordinary path. What's stopping you from doing the same? If you felt a nudge to live more intentionally or explore your own faith, this is your moment. Start by diving deeper into their teachings or reflecting on their courage. And if you're ready to take a step further, I've created a resource designed just for you. It's called Christian Journey, Exploring the Bible in the 27 Steps, a guide packed with practical insights and spiritual wisdom to help you build a life of faith and purpose. You can find the link pinned in the comments. Take a look, it could be the roadmap you've been searching for. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. That way, you'll stay connected and continue exploring these incredible stories together. Your journey doesn't end here, it's just beginning. Thank you for watching, and I can't wait to see how these lessons transform your life. Until next time, stay curious and stay inspired.